Okay, in this conversation, I want to talk about how to thrive in a post-coronavirus world. And to do this, I am joined today by John Rigas, who is the executive chairman of Asprey. Welcome, John.
Good afternoon.
Tell me a little bit more about Asprey and who is Asprey and what do you do?
Well, Asprey is a luxury company. It's, according to all records, the oldest luxury company in the world. This year, it's our 240th anniversary. And historically, we cater to all luxury requests. The motto of the company, which is embedded in our coat of arms, is "It can be done." So anybody can come and request what they think they should have, and we will make it for them. But as a business, we primarily sell jewelry and leather of all kinds, from travel leather to ladies' handbags and the like, and an enormous amount of items for the home, from silver. Our silver workshops are arguably the best in the world, very famous in Mayfair, and crystal, china, and other items for that in the home category. And also we have a number of collections of watches.
Wonderful. So retail has been hit hard with COVID. So tell me a little bit more about the initial shock and the impact of COVID-19 and how you felt this at Asprey.
Well, it was truly shocking. It was a tsunami because one day you have stores operating and the next day the stores are closed, and there is nothing you can do about that. So other than protect your employees, and you don't want your clients to be in an unsafe environment or perceived to be unsafe. And so the shock to us, like with any other retailer, was from a business standpoint, was that we could not operate. Therefore, we had no cash flow, and therefore, but our fixed obligations remained the same: our payrolls, our rents, and so on and so forth. So there is a small exclusion to that, which maybe in our case is slightly bigger than other retail companies, in the sense that we have the bespoke and corporate business, trophy business. We make all the trophies for Premier League and a lot of different sporting events that you will be very impressed with, and some of them secretly. But that business continued to the extent that we could operate the workshops around the world, and that helped us. But fundamentally, the vast majority of our business disappeared, so we had to react to that, and react we did.
Very good. So a recent research by Adobe and the London School of Economics found that leadership has been a primary barrier to success during COVID, and companies that thrived were those with hands-on leaders that are open to change, where leaders are visible and accountable and embrace change and invest in innovation, adapt quickly, and are willing to learn from mistakes. So how did you respond to the challenges posed by COVID-19?
Well, that's exactly what we had to do. The whole company had to restructure itself, and in addition to the typical things that you would expect, like taking care of the employees, making sure that everybody's okay, and so on and so forth. But then renegotiating costs such as leases. We renegotiate every single lease in our network, and to reduce the cost, obviously, and we were very successful at that. But the biggest change was a fundamental change, which is that we accelerated plans that we had to go digital. We accelerated them, but at warp speed. So we said 100% digital today, okay, and that was sort of the message to everybody. We have a very flat organization, a very good management team, and everybody embraced it, which was extremely helpful. And so there was a series of elements to it. In going 100% digital to us, okay, remember we operate many workshops around the world, manufacturing facilities, and so on and so forth, dealing in artisanal type of work because the quality of the work. Asprey is at the top of the luxury pyramid, so everything is of artistic quality, basically, and that's not easy. When someone has been doing something for 100 years extremely well at the top of the game, world class, it's not very easy to tell them, listen, you got to change now and you got to do it digitally and so on and so forth. But digital for us actually does mean 100% from, in fact, conceptualizing a product, designing it, prototyping it, and then all the way through supply chain and all the way through to post sale service with the client, because our client base is at the very high end, very high ATV, average price, and they have expectations, and we have to fulfill those expectations. And this was also part of our challenge, because our clients like to come to the stores as part of the experience, and we had to replicate that digitally. So we did a whole program. We did actually contract with Adobe and this was something that we were going to do anyway, but we accelerated it and brought everything in digital, including digitization of our archives, which are enormous, as you might imagine, 240 years, and this has created a tremendous amount of efficiencies within the company, in the sense that information can move freely and can be worked with, whether it's imaging or photographs or designs or whatever have you. And in addition to that, we created, we are replicating our historical, very famous workshops in silver, crystal, and jewelry, and so on and so forth, leather, in a digital format, and we have called it Asprey Digital Studio. Mm-hmm. And the Asprey Digital Studio is now tasked and is already producing products that are digitally minded, so to speak, but they're still luxury products. And we're hoping to turn, in that respect, add a new dimension to the luxury business with the Asprey Digital Studio, and then we also did a couple of other things, which is bring in blockchain into the system. This was something that we wanted to do in the first place, but we accelerated it, and that for us has two aspects. One aspect is authentication of the product, its authentic product, which is something that we've been doing for a long time, right? Because Asprey has the, let's say as an example, in silver, you authenticate with the assay marks, which certify that it's from a certain workshop in a certain town, it's the right alloy, and so on and so forth, and people know it's the real thing. And for products, Asprey products, which are highly collectible, okay, and they have enormous resale value, the authentication is really important, as is the certification of the materials, the way it was made, the values that go into making the product, and so on and so forth. So that's one aspect. And the second aspect is actually the NFT aspect, which you can get with blockchain, that the products have actually inherent value, but the NFT can bring additional value. Whether to the product itself, which is a simple NFT that basically authenticates, certifies, and so on and so forth, but also artistic NFTs that can add value to the product. So all this stuff, it happened in the last 12 months, less than 12 months.
Yeah, I love this, and I'm sure this wouldn't have been on the agenda if we didn't have this global pandemic, right?
The blockchain was in the agenda, and we would have eventually gotten to the NFTs because it's unfolding in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
But COVID, and I like to remind this to everybody, was in a way an accelerator of this, because it forced us to do it more quickly and eliminated any doubts or resistance or what might have slowed down the process towards this conclusion. And so in that respect, we are thankful that we were able to think that way and move very forward, very fast.
Very good. Another characteristic of companies that are thriving as we emerge from this pandemic is the fact that they focus on building organizational culture around trust. So this new era has transformed employer and employee relationship to a culture now built on trust, empowerment, autonomy. So how have you addressed this at Asprey?
Yes, the company has very good management and a very good culture. So this wasn't a problem for us. It's a very flat organization with a tremendous amount of creativity within the company, and so there is a high level of trust in the sense that, and there has always been a high level of trust in the sense that if you're dealing with people who are going to creatively interpret certain concepts, you really have to trust them. You cannot micromanage or processize creativity, unfortunately, and even if you, fortunately or unfortunately. So for us, that wasn't an issue. We had to make sure that we communicate a lot, and I encourage management team to communicate a lot with the employees, just to keep to make sure that people understand that we are here, we are operating, we are going to be here for the next 240 years, which we plan to, and so that helped. But I do agree with you that trust is a big element of getting through a period like this.
Very good. So the new era we're now in is fast-paced and unpredictable. In thriving companies, every part of the business must work together in real time to meet customer needs and be ready to adapt to whatever change may come next. So how are you tackling that at Asprey?
So that's a very good point, and I have to say that I am extremely pleased, and in fact almost surprised, how quickly the staff have actually embraced this fast-paced culture, fast-paced environment, and are bringing it into the culture. Okay, because you might imagine a company 240 years old making silver objects has a different culture. No, you'd be surprised. Everybody is very tuned in, and because of the technological changes that we have brought into the system, into how the company operates, they have had to learn new skills and be trained and capture those. And what in fact has done, it has actually expanded their imagination and the creativity of the creative teams to be able to do some, I have to say, very, very beautiful products that we're going to be launching. And we have a couple of very big partnerships also that we are going to be launching in the next 6 months. So yeah, it's very exciting. It's a very exciting time.
It's great, and I think what you're describing is the perfect example of a truly resilient business that has been around for 240 years and has constantly been able to adapt and change. So this new era is constantly evolving and requires that those who succeed must constantly learn and evolve, which means having the right data and metrics available and fostering a data-rich culture. How important is data for Asprey, and have you managed to foster a data-rich culture?
So before we go to the data, one thing that I would say is I have read very carefully Joseph Schumpeter, and everybody knows that the creative destruction of what happens, and big companies that were the number one in the world and they have disappeared. Okay, so the fact is you have to adapt no matter what. And adaptation is very difficult if you're a 240-year-old company that's been at the top of the heap for a long time. So because you say, well, I've been doing the thing the best, better than anybody else, so why should I change? But the fact is you have to change. You have to have very clear mission and values. Okay, and if you have clear mission and values, that means that you change without compromising your heritage, your history, your value system, and the way and what you offer to your clients. So in that respect, it's possible. In terms of the data is an interesting conversation that we could have for a long time. And clearly, you need to be data driven in this world, because the data is available, and if you don't use it, your competitor who uses it will have an advantage over you. So even if you don't like data, you have to use the data, no question. Now in our case, because of the high ATV of our transactions, and because the high expectations of our clients, it's an interesting concept, because we have a smaller data set. Okay, because we have fewer than you might imagine clients, but we have a lot more data on each one of those clients, because we know everything about them, because they've been clients for a long time. Some are royals, and so on and so forth. So it's interesting how it's not a as much as you might imagine a statistical driven analysis of the data, which tries to make algorithmic analysis of the data available to sort of influence outcomes, commercial outcomes, but it's rather a qualitative analysis of the data to see how tastes are changing, okay, and how we have to change and our offering in order to meet the needs and wants of our client base. So it's a very interesting discussion, the data, but it's slightly different for us than it is for others.
Interesting. So businesses must continuously look for new ways to enable their people to best meet their customer needs, which means that there is a need for continual upskilling. How are you making sure people continue to learn and develop at Asprey?
Right. So look, from a design standpoint, Asprey has always been known for incredible product design and capabilities and so on and so forth. The fact that we are bringing the digital component, which has always been a part of our mission and values, because one of the requirements that we have in our mission and values is, okay, best materials, best design, but also best technology. Okay, so now we have best technology helping us, and technology is taking a bigger part of the outcome, is forcing a bigger part of the outcome. So clearly on the design side, the technology has been the case. In the case of customer interaction, which is the other part that Asprey is extremely well known for, the famous Asprey customer service, and whether in store or after the sale, obviously we think we are at the top of the pyramid again, and there what we had to do, because part of the shock of closing the stores is that you didn't have the customer interaction because customers could simply not visit the stores. So you had to learn how to do that digitally, and again, the main focus has been on training, on digital skills and new capabilities through new software that is available and so on and so forth, and hardware. And in fact, we even have a new sort of capability that we can actually make a live sale digitally on the internet with live discussion and so on and so forth, using some technology of a company we found in Singapore. So all that has been the primary focus, and it's yielding tremendous results.
Very good. So what's next? What other technology or business change initiatives are you planning to focus on in the future?
Well, next for us, the biggest, we have several commercial partnerships that we will be launching, and which will be announced shortly. But the biggest structural thing for us next, the company, is the advent of NFTs. We will have NFTs for the vast majority of our products.
Really? So do you have any examples where you think that they're actually purely digital NFTs?
There will be NFTs that accompany the product to just capture the information of the product. Again, authentication, certification, materials used, and provenance, because unlike other companies, our products have tremendous resale value. So if you show up at one of the auction houses and you say, I have an Asprey shaker, and you have all the information associated with the Asprey shaker, when you bought it, what it is, how long, all that, you have all that available, then the auction house is much more likely than not to say, oh, lovely, we have that, it has provenance, and the next person buying it will have all this information available for them as well. I mean, we have shakers that are selling at St. James in the silver shops at St. James that are 80 years old, and they look the same, and they have and they've retained their value. So in that respect, that's for the products themselves. But then luxury is changing, and there is no question that there is going to be a new interpretation of luxury, like there always is, because the definition of luxury is constantly changing. And the new interpretation of luxury will include digital collectibles. Okay, I don't want to say art. Art is not what we do, but we do collectibles. Okay, so given the fact that all our products are collectibles, we have to be in the digital collectibles, and in fact, we want to lead the way in that respect. So we are in advanced negotiations. We are selecting the partner. Okay, and we hope to launch at the latest by beginning of July. So we're talking 45 days from today. We as you might imagine, every single participant wants us to have Asprey as their lead luxury brand as a partner. So that for us is the biggest thing, and the possibilities are endless. There are some incredible creativity that's coming out, and it's a very exciting time because I can't wait to see the product of all that. The other thing that we're working on is in terms of luxury, and which we're trying to address. It's very difficult. Is time, because for a lot of people, time is the ultimate luxury. And so we are taking that question and saying to ourselves, okay, we have very important clients for which time is their most precious asset, which is for everybody. So how do we make their time with us more efficient as part of the customer experience? And if we can make some marginal improvements and innovations on that, I think it's going to make the Asprey service even better than it is now. So those are the two biggest things I would say.
Very good. And how do you see luxury retail evolving over the next 10 years or so? What are some of the key trends that you're expecting to see?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily the best futurist, but yeah, I think that I think it's going to be a balance between people will always enjoy going to the store. The notion of the agora and the live interaction with people has been here from ancient times. It will continue to be here. So I don't think stores are going to disappear. They're going to be different. People are becoming much more sophisticated. They want more interaction. They want more education to learn more as part of the interaction. They want to engage with other people and entities that share value systems. So the value systems are going to be a big determinant of what happens. And in our case, in the case of Asprey, which is known for bespoke product, a significant part is going to be the bespoke component of the interaction. In other words, let the client come in and, in fact, participate in the design and in the creation of the product. The company has been doing that for years because, for a trophy, you interact with the team that is going to have the trophy at the end. So, in a similar way, you can bring that interactivity element and democratize it, bring it down to lesser priced products, and make that part of the interaction of the client with the brand, and make it more rewarding for them. So all that is coming.
Very good. Thank you so much for your time today, John. That was fascinating.
I thank you, Bernard.
Thank you.